Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Josh. Welcome back to another toy review, and we're here to take a look at the Ultra Monster 500 series, number 189, Chandlar. And you're probably wondering, right, Josh? You're wrong. That's not Chandlar. That's Pigula. Yeah, from Ultra Q. You idiot. You fake Ultraman fan, right? So to that I say, you're right. Well, half right, because there is a bit of some confusion when it comes to this character, because funny enough, Chandlar and Pegula, despite sharing the exact same design, with the exception of the head being different, they're actually two different creatures. They're actually not the same character, despite sharing the exact same body and all that. I mean, heck, even the backstory, makes no sense when it comes to Chandlar. So we got to go a little bit further back, with Ultra Q, which of course was the first Ultraman series that came out in 1966. Pegula first appeared in episode 5. Pegula is here, where it basically took place like in a weird Antarctic like area in Japan, and basically, Peggy comes out of nowhere, because obviously the whole premise of Ultra Q is that it was like a monster of the week ordeal, where you didn't really know what was gonna come out and attack the people of Tokyo and stuff like that. So the weirdest thing to take away from it is that apparently he's supposed to be like a weird giant penguin kaiju, and I mean, it kind of shows within the design, not really. I mean, you showed this to me, and I would have never, ever thought that this was supposed to be a penguin. I mean, never. I mean, I don't know. The problem with, like, the designs of these type of creatures is that they always had, like, this weird sort of, like, hybrid, like, combination ordeal, where they're always based off of something, even if it's not, like, 100% sure. And they never really strictly say that he's supposed to be a penguin. I mean, I don't remember, because I've seen the episode a very, very long time ago. But you get the idea. Basically, what I'm trying to say, even though this is Chandlar, if you look at Pegula, it's the exact same body. Like, everything. Only the head is different. And in case you're wondering, yes, Bandai actually did made a figure of Pegula too. So that means we, in the, the movie, I mean, not movie monster, and the Ultra series, right, with the toys by Bandai, yes, they actually did made both versions of the character, even though they're both two different kaijus. Kind of in a very similar situation with Red King, where they actually did made the first Red King and Red King 2. And ironically, if we look at Chandlar in the next series, Ultraman, he first appeared in episode 8. Sorry, episode 8, the Monster Anarchy Zone, which of course is the same episode that we were first introduced to Red King, as well as Pigmon. So yeah, a lot of weird stuff. And ironically, I took so much time just to explain the backstory of this, because it's just so weird. Oh, and in case you're wondering what happened to Pegula, I guess they were attempting to kind of poison him with some sort of gas, and that's about it for the most part. So let's kind of get on with the figure. Actually, no, we need to talk about the tag. Because yes, I'm actually reviewing the figure with the tag, because if you go to Japan and you buy these figures, this is how they come. They come hanged. And as you guys know, a couple months ago, I went to New York City and I went to Toy Tokyo, and I was in love. They got so many of these. I did post a video, kind of me talking about it. I couldn't really film the inside because obviously it's a public place. It's New York. I don't want to get into any kind of issues. To be honest, the cash register dude wasn't really the nicest to me. Probably because I bought so many of these, but it is what it is. I love these. And of course, the tags are always fun. Now, of course, as you can see, they use kind of like a, I want to say sort of a modern picture. I don't know. In all honesty, I don't really remember Chandlar appearing in any recent media of Ultraman. I know that Pegula did, but I can't really say for sure what show he appeared in. I'm a little bit behind, which is unfortunate, because just by looking at Ultraman Blazar, even though I haven't really watched this series, at least for me personally, it's everything I've kind of wanted with like Ultraman Z, where I like the show, but like maybe not as much as I kind of wanted to, but it is what it is. And of course, he's number 189 because Bandai is weird like that. This is an old classic character straight from the 60s, and not, it took them like what? Okay, let's see, what year was this? Okay, so it took them last year to finally make a figure of him. Okay, it is what it is. That's fine. So, of course, obviously, Now, we took care of that. Oh, and, nothing in the inside. Yeah, forgot to mention that because it's actually been a while since I've done these reviews, so I do apologize. So, of course, let's take a look at the sculpt, because when it comes to these figures, they're great. There's no issues with like the sculpting and all that. They most of the time they actually do nail down the design and the look of the characters, which is, I think it's great. Now I know I do say that a lot in my Ultraman reviews. I know that probably gets a little bit annoying that I'm giving every single figure a good review, but trust me, there are a fair share of figures that look pretty questionable when compared to their final like depiction. You know what I mean? So trust me, things are looking good right now. But wait till we get to those figures. That'll be pretty interesting. Now, obviously, as you can see, he doesn't really have a lot of paint. He's mostly a sort of like dirt brown. I know. I'm looking at my camera, and he seems a little bright. But trust me, when you have him on hand, he is slightly more darker. I guess that's also kind of ironic because in the show he was a lot more darker than this. Because I remember when he first kind of came out of nowhere, he was fighting against Red King. And that's another thing too. Chandlar does not have a real backstory, honestly. He was literally like he just premiered in the episode just to get his ass kicked and died. He was even like bleeding and everything with all like that gushing blood red, and I was like, wow. I mean, Ultraman is not necessarily a kid show. I mean, I know that back in those days there was no real regulation behind like what's really allowed on TV and all that. It was more confusing than anything else. Then again, it was also the same decade that we saw Bloodface, which is a weird horror movie, which I won't get too much into, but just thought I kind of let you guys know. And of course, we could see, back to the detail, and in the paint, got these like weird little bumps kind of going on. I mean, I don't know if this creature was affected by like radiation or anything. I'm not sure. Most of the kaijus in the show, they always like kind of like rise from like the ground and all that, and all of a sudden they terrorize the poor people in the city. And then Ultraman and the Science Patrol comes out of nowhere to save everyone and all that. And, even the tail moves. He has 3 points of articulation. It looks like the waist can move, but unfortunately it actually doesn't. It's just pretty much glued on there. Not by me, I didn't like break the figure or anything. It's just that's kind of how they are. And I'm gonna lower my camera down a little bit because I want to show the full figure because you haven't even seen his tiny, tiny little toes going on right there, right? So the toenails are not painted. I mean, it's not a huge deal. It is kind of weird, especially if you have OCD, where like at least the fingertips and even like in his tooth, his little horn, at least they're kind of painted. It's weird that he's represented originally as like a weird penguin hybrid, but he definitely has more of a weird, like either a bat or like a pig vibe with his face. I mean, if you just look closely, I mean, you could kind of see the resemblance, but not by much. I mean, it looks like he has a snout or just like a really big fat nose, and he just looks like he's done with life. I love how he has like this disappointing expression, which is ironic. But obviously, that's only just because of how they're designed. It's not really because they're trying to make some sort of weird expression. But you get the point. These are people in suits, and we get more bumps. And I do apologize if you hear my dog in the background barking. It's like and of course, we get the nice wrinkles and all that. I also forgot to mention a little bit that nice splotch of the white paint we got kind of going on here, and he's all pudgy. Not necessarily. Despite this being made of a vinyl plastic, he is a little bit on the harder side, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, these figures, I most of the time when they fall off my shelf, I don't really have any sort of damage with them, so I think they'll be fine for the most part. And of course, while we're going over the articulation, I've been playing around with the arms, and yes, they do go full 360. They're a little hard to move, but not in a bad way. At least they're nice and stiff. You could definitely get at least some sort of poses, even though they're not really the greatest. I mean, I can't really imagine him just kind of flying by. Now that I think about it, I don't really remember even seeing him fly at one point. I mean, I don't know. That's the funny thing. He dies so quick before we can even get to analyze his character. He probably did appear in later entries in the Ultraman series, but if I'm being honest, my brain's kind of dead right now. I wouldn't even know. I'm just specifically trying to remember everything by, memory. And one last thing with the paint I do want to mention is his mouth, because I do notice that it's you could definitely see like sort of like the weird darker brown on his tongue. I guess kind of like a chocolate brown is kind of a good, weird way to point it out. And of course, got the red eyes that are painted right there. But for how basic these figures are, despite being vinyls and all that, and even look at that, you even got the little spikes right there. It should say the year. Of course, if I could at least sort of focus on that. Maybe not. Let's see here. Like I said, it's kind of been a while since I've done an Ultraman review, so I do apologize. And okay, so there is no year, but you get the point. Alright, so of course, let's do some comparisons, because why not, you know? And I'm mostly going to compare him to, like, the kaijus from, like, the first, like, no, not first, but second Ultraman series, so you got Red King right here, the one that pretty much murders him, the Skull Kaiju. This is the size comparison, because obviously when it comes to the size of these figures, they're not always accurate. I mean, which is fine. It comes with the territory. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying, I know that for some people, they find that kind of disappointing, But as long, I rather have a figure with a nice, good sculpt than, sizing that's not accurate and stuff. I mean, well, I don't mind a figure that is size accurate, but if it's crap, of course I'm going to call it out. Chandlar, at least for me, is an automatic 10 out of 10. I already gave my score pretty much, but you get the point. And of course, we got Red King's bootleg brother, Arobus, Erebus. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because even in the show, they just reuse the costume from Red King and then just use it for this. But obviously, in toy form, they don't really represent it like that. But I think you guys know what I mean by that. I don't think I need to go too much in depth of how he looks. So of course, I'm gonna put him right there. I'm gonna put him right next to his little buddy right here, or should I say his rival? The colors do complement each other very well. Like, perfect, Did I forget to mention that I gave these figures good scores? That's how great they are. So if you're a kaiju fan or if you love Ultraman, get these figures. I swear, these are really great. And you can find them somewhere, pretty much anywhere. eBay, Amazon, Hobby Link Japan. There's probably a couple of others I'm not sure about, but you get the point. And then, of course, you got Bolton. Oh, the giant, weird 4D kaiju meteorite thingy. And the reason why I'm showing these guys so much is because when I look back at those old reviews, I'm very surprised with how popular they are, and they got so many views, but like my quality was crap. Like, you couldn't really see the figures, like, because of like the video looking a little yellowish. So I did have to kind of sort of, apologize for that, back then. I mean, a lot of people didn't really complain or anything, but I just thought I'd kind of point that out because it bothers me. But we're all good because look, we even got Niranga. Nice, you got the weird what is flesh? I don't know, for zipper, I guess. And okay, see, he could hug Bolton if he wants. I'll show you two more, and then I'm gonna end the video. Actually, three more. I gotta show you Ultraman. Dada or Dada. I don't know I don't know what's the proper pronunciation for it. I have a lot more, but I don't want to take so many of them off my shelf, so I hope you guys could kind of understand that. And of course, here he is compared to Kenny Gon, from Ultra Q. He premiered in episode 14 or 15, if I remember correctly. Of course, size. Kind of, sort of Ultra Q buddies, but not really, because remember, Chandlar is from Ultraman. Pegula is from Ultra Q. Unfortunately, I do not have Ultra Q. Pegula. So whenever I do, I will review him, even though it's going to be the exact same thing as this figure, but just so I could get some confusion out of the way. And of course, last, but definitely not least, the hero himself, Ultraman. And yeah, the size, it's not great, but I still love this figure. No, I cannot give it a bad score. I really can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I really can't. But honestly, that's about it. I already gave you guys the score. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, at least. I don't know about you guys. Sculpting is magnificent. It looks just like the character. It looks perfect. Paint job, sculpt, everything. Just down to the details, and that's fantastic. So yeah, it's about it. So I don't know what the next toy review is going to be. It's either going to be either an Ultraman figure or maybe a Ninja Turtles figure, because I'm still reviewing the ones from the movie Mutant Mayhem. The reason why I'm still doing the reviews of those, because Wave 2 is supposed to come out maybe in a month or two, so I want to get prepared for that. So by the time that I finished up with Wave 1, hopefully I'll be able to kind of jump right into Wave 2. So of course, as for Ultraman and stuff like that, I don't really know exactly what's the next figure is going to be, because I'm trying to review these on in a specific way. because obviously I tried to review it from like first appearances and stuff like that, but obviously that's pretty difficult. It's not my fault. This is this toy line. They like to release these figures out of order, but it is what it is. So until then, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like and subscribe for more toy reviews, you know, because I love doing these and I like when you guys tune in. So, yeah, you know, that's about it. See ya.